In the summer of 1856, the small town of Belle Reve, nestled just beyond the bustling streets of New Orleans, awoke to a mystery that would confound its residents for decades to come. The morning sun cast long shadows over the abandoned carnival grounds on the town's outskirts, a place that just the night before had pulsed with life, laughter, and the vibrant colors of tents and banners. Now, only a single, tattered tent remained, its canvas flapping weakly in the humid Louisiana breeze, while the rest of the carnival, the rides, the booths, the performers, had seemingly vanished without a trace. Before we embark on the eerie journey of a carnival that vanished overnight, leaving only a solitary tent in its wake, be sure to subscribe and like the video to stay updated on our captivating tales of the unknown. And tell me, what draws you into the world of mysteries as we unravel this haunting story? This sudden and inexplicable disappearance sent ripples through Belle Reve's close-knit community. The carnival had been the highlight of the summer, a traveling spectacle that brought joy and wonder to the townsfolk, young and old alike. Its overnight absence was not merely a loss of entertainment, but a rupture in the fabric of the town's reality, sparking whispers, fears, and a storm of speculation. Among the most intrigued was Clara DuPont, a curious and spirited 14-year-old girl whose fascination with the carnival had blossomed from childhood wonder into a determined quest for answers. Clara was no stranger to mysteries. Raised by her father, a local apothecary, she had grown accustomed to observing the world with keen eyes and an insatiable appetite for knowledge. The carnival's sudden disappearance was a puzzle she could not resist. Belle Reve, in the mid-19th century, was a peculiar blend of tradition and transition. The scars of the Civil War still lingered in the collective consciousness, and the rapid expansion of traveling entertainments had introduced new forms of spectacle and superstition. The carnival, with its exotic performers and curious attractions, embodied both the allure and unease of this era. It arrived 6 weeks prior, rolling in with the dawn on a cloud of dust and excitement, setting up on the edge of town where the pine forest met the swampland. Its presence was electric. The townspeople flocked in droves, drawn by the promises of wonders and delights that seemed to emerge from another world. Yet, even as the carnival thrived, strange occurrences began to unsettle the community. At night, faint strains of music, melancholic and haunting, drifted on the breeze, heard by those brave enough to listen. Some reported glimpses of performers wandering the grounds after hours, their faces pale and eyes distant, as if caught between waking and dreaming. Whispers spoke of symbols painted in hidden corners, and of shadows that moved against the wind. These early signs, dismissed by many as fanciful rumors or the tricks of restless minds, took on a new weight once the carnival vanished entirely. Clara's own fascination deepened with each passing day. Her evenings were spent skulking near the deserted carnival grounds, drawn by a mixture of fear and curiosity. She would creep beneath the flickering gas lamps, her small hands trembling as she traced the faded outlines of painted signs and strange markings etched into wooden posts. Inside the remaining tent, the air was thick with the scent of damp canvas and forgotten dreams. There, whispered conversations seemed to linger, as if the very fabric of the tent retained the voices of those who had vanished. The townsfolk, meanwhile, oscillated between disbelief and dread. Some insisted the carnival had simply packed up and moved on, but the lack of any footprints, wagon tracks, or evidence of departure defied logic. Others whispered of darker forces, curses born from broken promises, or of pacts made in secret beneath the carnival's bright banners. The local preacher warned of sin and temptation, urging the community to pray for deliverance. Yet none could explain how an entire troop, along with their elaborate apparatus and livestock, could disappear overnight without a trace. Clara's mind raced with questions. Who were these performers, really? What secret did Monsieur Laurent, the elusive tent keeper, hide behind his enigmatic smile? How could a place so alive one day become so utterly empty the next? Driven by a restless spirit that refused to accept mere superstition or fear, she vowed to uncover the truth behind the carnival's disappearance, even if it meant confronting dangers that lurked beyond the edge of reason. Her first steps were cautious, yet determined. Under the cover of twilight, Clara would slip past the town's watchful eyes, approaching the lone tent with a mixture of reverence and apprehension. The canvas walls, once vibrant with painted scenes of mythical creatures and swirling patterns, now hung in tatters, revealing glimpses of a world frozen in time. Inside, she found remnants of a life abruptly halted, discarded costumes embroidered with sequins and beads, cracked mirrors with ornate frames, and the faint echo of music that seemed to seep from the very wood and fabric. On one such evening, as the cicadas sang their ceaseless chorus, Clara discovered an odd detail, a series of symbols carefully etched into the wooden support beams at the tent's center. These were not mere decorations, but cryptic glyphs, their forms unfamiliar and unsettling. They glowed faintly in the moonlight, as though alive with some hidden energy. Clara traced her fingers over them, feeling a shiver ripple through her skin. It was as if the symbols were a language, a message left behind by those who had vanished, a secret meant only for those brave enough to seek it. The mystery of the carnival's disappearance was no longer a tale whispered in hushed tones. It had become a puzzle that gripped the heart of Belle Rêve and its most intrepid daughter. Clara's journey was just beginning, but the shadows gathering around the abandoned carnival grounds promised that the answers she sought would not come easily, nor without cost. As the days passed, the tent stood solitary against the encroaching wilderness, a silent sentinel guarding its secrets. The townsfolk kept their distance, their eyes wary and their voices low. Yet Clara, with a resolve that belied her youth, was drawn ever closer, compelled by a force she could neither name nor resist. In the quiet moments before dawn, she would stare at the tent's frayed edges, imagining the vibrant life it once contained, and wondering what fate had claimed it all. Thus, the stage was set for a tale woven from the threads of wonder and dread, a story that would unravel the boundary between the known and the unknowable. Belle Rêve's vanished carnival was more than an empty space. It was a doorway to mysteries that would challenge the very fabric of reality, and Clara Dupont was poised at its threshold, ready to step beyond the veil. In the heart of 1856, America, a nation still finding its footing after the devastations of the Civil War, traveling carnivals like the one that had descended upon Belle Rêve were both a beacon of entertainment and a source of deep unease. The country was in the throes of rapid expansion and transformation. The railroads stretched their steel fingers across the land, cities swelled with new immigrants, and the frontier beckoned with promises of fortune and adventure. Yet, amid this heady progress, superstition and fear remained potent forces, especially in the rural South, where the scars of conflict had left communities unsettled and wary of the unknown. The carnival's arrival in Belle Rêve, 6 weeks before its disappearance, was a spectacle unlike any the town had seen. It rolled in on a cloud of dust and noise, colorful wagons adorned with exotic paintings, and performers whose talents and oddities filled the air with an electric sense of possibility. The townsfolk, starved for distraction and delight, flocked from miles around. Children pressed their faces against wooden fences to glimpse the acrobats, while adults marveled at the strange animals and illusionists who seemed to bend reality. The carnival was a transient kingdom of wonder, a place where the ordinary was suspended and the extraordinary thrived. Yet beneath the gaiety, unsettling signs began to emerge. It started subtly, a melody drifting through the night air, faint but persistent, like a lullaby sung by unseen voices. Local farmers reported hearing this eerie music as they lay awake in their beds, its notes weaving through the thick Louisiana humidity with a haunting melancholy that stirred unease rather than comfort. Some claimed the music carried an otherworldly quality, as if it were not composed by human hands, but summoned from the depths of forgotten realms. More alarming were the accounts of performers wandering the carnival grounds long after the crowds had dispersed. Witnesses spoke of ghostly figures seen pacing in the shadows, their faces obscured or distorted, moving with a slow, trance-like rhythm. One elderly woman swore she saw a man with eyes like polished glass, staring into the night as if searching for something beyond the veil of the visible world. These sightings were whispered cautiously among the townsfolk, dismissed in daylight but growing in weight as the nights wore on. Clara Dupont, ever the observant and fearless soul, found herself drawn deeper into these mysteries. Unlike most, she did not shy away from the unknown, but embraced it with a fervor born of youthful curiosity and a hunger for truth. She began sneaking into the carnival grounds after closing hours, slipping past the weary night watchman with nimble feet and a steady heart. Each visit revealed new layers to the carnival's enigma, symbols scrawled in hidden corners, cryptic glyphs woven into the fabric of tents, and whispered conversations that seemed to dissolve when she approached. On one such night, Clara's keen eyes caught sight of a small gathering near the edge of the grounds, where a circle of performers huddled beneath the flickering light of a lantern. Their voices were low, chanting in a tongue that twisted and curled like smoke, words unfamiliar and unsettling. The air around them shimmered faintly, as if charged with some hidden energy. Clara dared not step closer, but she watched, heart pounding, as the ritual unfolded, a dance of shadows and light that hinted at powers beyond mortal understanding. This secretive behavior was a stark contrast to the carnival's public facade of joy and spectacle. It suggested a world beneath the world, a network of hidden meanings and dark pacts that governed the lives of those who had come to Belle Rive. The performers were not mere entertainers. They were custodians of mysteries that defied explanation, and their presence in the town was no accident. The broader context of mid-19th century America added weight to these unsettling developments. The nation was a crucible of conflicting beliefs and rapid change. Science and superstition coexisted uneasily, and the boundaries between faith and fear were blurred. In the South, where Belle Rive lay, traditions ran deep, and folklore mingled with real dangers. Snake handlers, voodoo practitioners, and secret societies all inhabited the shadows of everyday life. The carnival, with its foreign performers and uncanny allure, tapped into these undercurrents, awakening dormant anxieties and stirring whispers of curses and witchcraft. Clara's fascination grew with each clandestine visit. She documented her observations meticulously, carving notes into a leather-bound journal gifted by her father. She sketched the strange symbols and attempted to decipher the chants she overheard, piecing together fragments of a puzzle that seemed to straddle the line between reality and nightmare. The carnival's power was palpable, a force that both captivated and terrified those who encountered it. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the cicadas began their relentless chorus, Clara ventured deeper into the carnival grounds than ever before. The air was thick with the scent of roasted nuts and damp earth, mingling with an undercurrent of something darker, an aroma she could not name but felt in her bones. She found herself near a small, forgotten booth where the paint had peeled away to reveal a crude carving, a serpent entwined around a crescent moon. The image seemed to pulse with life, and Clara's fingers tingled as she traced its contours. Suddenly, a whisper floated through the air, incomprehensible, yet charged with urgency. Clara turned sharply, but saw no one. The shadows lengthened, and a chill ran down her spine. It was as if the carnival itself was watching, waiting for her to uncover its secrets. Rather than retreat, Clara pressed onward, propelled by a mixture of fear and determination. In the days that followed, the townsfolk's unease deepened. Stories circulated of strange lights flickering in the distance, and animals behaving erratically near the carnival site. Some believed the performers were engaged in occult practices, drawing power from forces best left undisturbed. Others feared that the carnival was a harbinger of doom, a supernatural entity that could not be trusted. For Clara, these rumors only sharpened her resolve. She sensed that the carnival's magic was intertwined with the fears and hopes of Belle Reve itself, that it was both a mirror and a mask for the town's hidden truths. Her investigations became a delicate dance, balancing curiosity with caution, as she navigated a world where the line between friend and foe, reality and illusion, grew ever thinner. The carnival's 6 weeks in Belle Reve had been a fleeting moment of enchantment and dread, a chapter in the town's history that would leave scars long after the final act. The strange music, the restless performers, and the whispered rituals were threads in a tapestry that Clara was only beginning to unravel. Each discovery raised new questions. What was the source of the carnival's strange power? Who were the men and women behind the painted smiles? And what had ultimately led to their sudden, inexplicable disappearance? As the summer sun set on Belle Reve, casting a golden glow over the empty carnival grounds, Clara Dupont stood at the edge of a mystery that stretched beyond the bounds of the ordinary. The carnival was gone, but its secrets lingered, haunting the night and calling to those willing to listen. For Clara, the journey had only just begun, and the shadows of the vanished carnival whispered promises of revelations yet to come. Monsieur Laurent was a figure shrouded in whispers and shadows, long before Clara Dupont's curiosity drew her into the depths of the vanished carnival's enigma. From the moment the carnival rolled into Belle Reve, his presence was unmistakable. A tall, slender man with an air of quiet authority, his dark eyes glinting with something inscrutable beneath a wide-brimmed hat that cast a perpetual shadow over his features. Locals speculated endlessly about his origins. Some said he was a magician from the old world. Others whispered of darker, more arcane affiliations. Yet no one truly knew the man who kept the tent, the heart of the carnival's mystery. Clara's fascination with Monsieur Laurent grew alongside her determination to unravel the carnival's secrets. Despite her youth and the warnings of wary townsfolk, she sought him out, compelled by an intuition that he held the key to understanding what had transpired. Her initial encounters were met with polite but guarded responses. Laurent's smile was enigmatic, never quite revealing his intentions. He spoke with a measured accent, his words chosen carefully, as if weighing each syllable against some unseen scale. One humid evening, under a cloak of twilight, Clara found herself standing before the great tent, its canvas stained and worn, but still formidable in its lingering presence. Gathering her courage, she stepped inside at Laurent's invitation, a gesture that surprised her, yet felt weighted with significance. The interior was a world apart from the desolation outside. Dimly lit by flickering lanterns, the space was filled with curious artifacts that whispered of distant lands and forgotten lore. Rows of strange mirrors lined one wall, their surfaces rippling slightly, as if reflecting more than mere light. Clara's reflection fractured and twisted, revealing glimpses of shadowy figures lurking just beyond the glass. Nearby, shelves bore cryptic scrolls and faded tomes bound in leather, their spines cracked with age and use. The air was thick with the scent of incense and something metallic, an aroma that stirred both fascination and unease within her. Laurent moved among these relics with practiced ease, his fingers tracing the edges of a carved wooden box as he spoke softly of the carnival's allure. "This place," he said, voice low and hypnotic, "is not merely a collection of acts and amusements. It is a vessel, an intersection where worlds touch and fears become flesh." His eyes met Clara's, steady and unblinking. The carnival draws its power from the mysteries it holds, from the stories it tells, and from the hearts it ensnares. Clara listened intently, sensing that Laurent's words contained truths veiled in metaphor. She pressed him gently, seeking to understand the nature of the strange power that had so captivated Belle Rive. Laurent's gaze darkened, and he revealed fragments of a history steeped in secrecy. The carnival was no ordinary troupe of entertainers. It was a gathering bound by ancient rites, each performer a keeper of arcane knowledge passed down through generations. He spoke of rituals conducted beneath the tent's heavy canvas, ceremonies designed to invoke forces beyond comprehension. The mirrors, he explained, were portals, windows into other realms where shadows danced and time folded upon itself. The scrolls contained incantations and symbols that tethered the carnival's magic to the physical world, weaving a delicate balance between the seen and unseen. Despite the weight of these revelations, Laurent's demeanor remained calm, almost protective. He seemed to regard Clara not as a child, but as a worthy seeker of forbidden truths. He allowed her to explore the tent's inner sanctum, guiding her hands over artifacts imbued with strange energies. Among these was a small obsidian amulet, etched with the same serpent and moon symbol Clara had discovered earlier. Laurent explained that it was a talisman of protection, worn by those who dared to walk the line between worlds. Yet beneath Laurent's measured words lay an undercurrent of caution. "The carnival's power is not without cost," he warned. "It demands devotion and sacrifice. Those who bind themselves to it become part of a greater design, one that cannot be unraveled without consequence." His eyes flickered with a shadow of regret, hinting at secrets too heavy for speech. Clara's nights spent within the tent deepened her understanding and her sense of foreboding. She witnessed Laurent performing rituals alone, chanting softly in a language that twisted and shimmered in the humid air, manipulating light and shadow in ways that defied logic. The mirrors seemed to respond to his will, reflecting visions of distant places and moments yet to unfold. These glimpses were both mesmerizing and terrifying, revealing a carnival that existed simultaneously in multiple realities. As days passed, Clara's bond with Laurent grew complex. He became both mentor and enigma, a gatekeeper to a world that danced on the edge of comprehension. She sensed his loneliness beneath the stoic exterior, a man burdened by knowledge and responsibility. Though she probed for answers, Laurent remained elusive on certain matters, particularly the reasons behind the carnival's sudden disappearance and the fate of its performers. Intrigued by the tent keeper's contradictions, Clara sought to understand the man behind the myth. She learned that Laurent had traveled far and wide, collecting stories and artifacts, weaving them into the fabric of the carnival's identity. His past was a tapestry of whispered encounters with secret societies, mystical orders, and shadowy figures who guarded the thresholds between worlds. Yet he carried these encounters with a quiet dignity, as if the weight of his journey was a solitary burden. One evening, as Clara prepared to leave the tent, Laurent handed her a faded journal, its cover worn and its pages filled with delicate script and intricate illustrations. "This belonged to a performer," he said, softly. "It may shed light on the carnival's mysteries, on the pacts made and the shadows embraced." The gift was both an invitation and a warning, a key to doors that perhaps should remain closed. Clara's heart quickened as she clutched the journal, feeling the pulse of secrets hidden within its fragile pages. She knew that her quest had entered a new phase, one fraught with peril and revelation. The enigmatic tent keeper had opened a window into the carnival's soul, but the path ahead was shrouded in uncertainty. As she stepped back into the humid night, the lone tent seemed to breathe with a life of its own, its frayed canvas whispering promises and threats. Monsieur Laurent disappeared into the shadows, a silent guardian of a carnival that had vanished, but whose echoes lingered like a haunting melody. Clara was left standing at the threshold, between innocence and knowledge, poised to delve deeper into a mystery that defied all reason and beckoned her toward the unknown. Clara Dupont's discovery of the worn journal marked a turning point in her unraveling of the vanished carnival's secrets. Within its fragile pages lay a tapestry of whispered confessions and cryptic entries that beckoned her deeper into a world where reality and the supernatural intertwined with unsettling intimacy. The diary belonged to Eloise, a performer whose delicate script wove tales of enchantment, fear, and a pact that had bound the carnival's fate in ways Clara had only begun to fathom. The investigation into the carnival's disappearance grew with each entry Clara read, revealing a mosaic of eyewitness accounts and hidden rituals that painted a picture both mesmerizing and ominous. Eyewitnesses interviewed by Clara spoke of the carnival's final night with a mixture of awe and dread. Some recalled a sudden, violent storm rolling in, dark clouds swirling over Belrave, lightning fracturing the sky, and torrential rain lashing the grounds. Yet, curiously, the next morning revealed no physical damage, no signs that the storm had touched the earth. The absence of wreckage or footprints deepened the mystery. It was as if the storm had been a spectral veil rather than a tangible event. Rumors swirled among the townsfolk, each more fantastical than the last. Some insisted the carnival had been cursed, a victim of a ritual gone awry. Others whispered of a pact made with an otherworldly force, a desperate bargain struck beneath the tent's canvas to secure fortune and fame at a terrible price. Clara's own explorations uncovered fragments of symbols drawn in hidden corners, etched into wood or painted faintly on tattered fabric, patterns that matched those within Eloise's diary. The diary's entries grew darker as they neared the final pages. Eloise described bizarre nightly gatherings deep within the carnival's heart, performers assembling in secret to chant and dance beneath the tent, their voices rising in a crescendo of arcane syllables. These rituals, she wrote, were intended to bind the troupe together, to protect their collective power and ensure their success. But beneath the surface, a shadow lurked, an insatiable hunger that fed on their souls and demanded ever greater sacrifices. One passage spoke of a great binding, a ceremony that promised to elevate the carnival's magic beyond all earthly limits. The performers, Eloise confessed, were both awed and terrified by the forces they sought to command. Some feared what might be unleashed, others embraced the darkness willingly, intoxicated by the promise of eternal life within the carnival's realm. The diary ended abruptly, the final lines a frantic warning. Beware the light that consumes, the hunger that cannot be sated. We have opened a door that cannot be closed. Clara's fascination turned to urgency as she pieced together these fragments. The carnival's disappearance was no ordinary vanishing. It was the culmination of a secret ritual gone beyond control, a crossing into a realm where the boundaries of existence blurred. She gathered testimonies from townsfolk who had glimpsed the carnival's last hours, a strange light that pulsed beneath the tent, accompanied by chanting that seemed to ripple through the night air. Witnesses spoke of performers disappearing one by one, their forms dissolving into shadows or fading into the darkness like smoke. As Clara delved further, she uncovered accounts of Laurent's involvement in these ceremonies. Though enigmatic, he appeared as both leader and guardian, orchestrating the rituals with a solemnity that suggested he bore the weight of responsibility for whatever had transpired. Some believed he had struck the original pact, binding the carnival to a force beyond human comprehension. Others whispered that Laurent had tried to contain the darkness, but had ultimately been consumed by it. The diary also hinted at a secret chamber beneath the tent, a hidden space where the most arcane rituals were performed, and where the carnival's true power resided. Clara's earlier visits to the tent had revealed nothing overt, but her newfound insights urged her to search more thoroughly. She discovered a faint outline beneath the worn canvas floor, a hatch concealed beneath layers of dust and debris. With trembling hands, she pried it open, revealing a narrow staircase descending into shadow. The air below was cool and heavy, thick with the scent of incense and old earth. Clara's lantern cast flickering light upon walls, adorned with strange symbols and murals, depicting serpents entwined with moons and stars, a visual echo of the talisman Laurent had shown her. At the chamber's center stood a stone altar, scarred with runes and stained with unknown substances. The space resonated with a palpable energy, a residual echo of the rituals that had once filled it. Clara's exploration confirmed the diary's warnings. The carnival's disappearance was the result of a desperate attempt to harness a power that defied control. The performers' pact had unleashed a force that consumed their physical forms, drawing them into a liminal existence between worlds. The carnival had not simply vanished. It had crossed a threshold, becoming something other, something caught between life and oblivion. The town of Belle Reve grappled with the fallout of these revelations. Fear and superstition deepened, and the carnival grounds became a place of dread. Attempts to dismantle or burn the remaining tent were met with inexplicable resistance. Fires smoldered without consuming the canvas, and the tent seemed to reappear intact the following dawn. The site became a locus of whispered legends, a place where the veil between the living and the lost was perilously thin. Clara, now entwined in the carnival's dark legacy, faced a new reality. Her investigations had uncovered a web of secrets that challenged the boundaries of her understanding and threatened to pull her into the same abyss as the vanished performers. The diary's final warnings echoed in her mind, a chilling reminder that some doors, once opened, refuse to close. Yet Clara's resolve only strengthened. She was determined to confront the Carnival's lingering darkness, to unravel the threads of the pact and the power it had unleashed. Her journey was no longer one of mere curiosity, but of necessity, a quest to protect her town, and perhaps save the souls trapped beyond the veil. With the secret chamber uncovered and the diary's revelations guiding her, Clara prepared to delve even deeper into the mysteries that surrounded Monsieur Laurent and the vanished Carnival. The shadows of Belle Rive's vanished wonder were lengthening, and the night held promises and perils that only she dared face. The night of the Carnival's disappearance was etched into Belle Rive's memory, with a clarity that defied the passage of time. Clara Dupont, armed with the fragments of the diary and her own observations, sought to reconstruct the final hours, the moments when the vibrant world of music, light, and laughter dissolved into silence and shadow. On that fateful evening, the town had been cloaked in an unnatural stillness. The usual hum of crickets and cicadas hushed, as if the earth itself held its breath. Witnesses gathered cautiously, their voices trembling as they recounted the scenes that unfolded beneath the great canvas of the lone surviving tent. Clara learned from an elderly farmer, his eyes clouded with age but bright with recollection, that a strange light had pulsed from beneath the tent, shifting in hues from deep violet to burning gold. The glow was not steady, but flickered, as though alive, breathing with a rhythm that echoed the beating of countless hearts. Accompanying the light was a chorus of chanting, low, rhythmic voices that rose and fell like the tide, a sound that seemed to ripple through the air and into the very bones of those who heard it. The performers, witnesses said, gathered in a circle at the tent's center, their faces illuminated by the shifting light. Some wore expressions of rapture, others bore the strain of dread. Clara pieced together from multiple accounts that this was the great binding ceremony, a ritual described in Eloise's diary, intended to transcend the boundaries of mortal existence and bind the troupe's fate in eternal unity. As the night deepened, the chanting grew more intense, weaving a tapestry of sound that seemed to alter the fabric of reality itself. The tent's walls pulsed and shimmered, blurring the line between the physical world and some other realm beyond comprehension. Witnesses described the air thickening, charged with an energy both magnetic and menacing. One by one, the performers began to vanish from sight, their forms dissolving into shadows that were quickly swallowed by the darkness. Some accounts spoke of figures melting like mist, others of bodies dissolving into light. The last to disappear was Monsieur Laurent, whose silhouette lingered longest before fading into the encroaching void. Amid the chaos, Clara's own narrow escape was recounted through the journal she had found, which contained a desperate plea from Eloise, warning of the ritual's unforeseen consequences. According to the diary, Clara had been close to the ceremony by chance or fate, and the tent's collapsing energies nearly claimed her as well. She had fled as the tent began to fold inward, its fabric collapsing like a dying star, the edges curling and twisting until the entire structure seemed to implode upon itself. Her flight from the scene was marked by a mixture of terror and awe. The memories etched into her mind told of the tent's canvas dissolving into the night sky, leaving behind only the empty clearing where the carnival had stood. The echoes of chanting and the last flicker of strange light haunted her steps as she ran, the weight of what she had witnessed settling like a shroud. In the days following, the town was gripped by disbelief and fear. The carnival grounds became a place avoided by all. A silence settled where once lively music and laughter had reigned. Attempts by townsfolk to dismantle or burn the remains of the tent were mysteriously thwarted. Fires sputtered and died, and the canvas seemed to reappear intact at dawn. This unyielding presence fostered a growing superstition. The carnival was no longer merely gone, it was cursed, a nexus of power and menace. Local leaders and clergy issued warnings, urging the community to shun the site and pray for deliverance from whatever dark forces had been unleashed. Yet the whispers persisted. Stories of shadowy figures glimpsed near the carnival site at night, of strange lights flickering in the swamps, and of mournful music carried on the wind. Clara, now burdened with knowledge and responsibility, found herself caught between the town's fear and her own compulsion to understand. The ritual had opened a door, one that blurred the boundaries between life and death, reality and nightmare. The vanished performers were trapped in a liminal space, neither fully gone nor present, their fates entwined with the carnival's lingering power. Her discoveries raised profound questions. Had the great binding succeeded in uniting the performers beyond mortality, or had it condemned them to eternal torment? Was Monsieur Laurent a guardian attempting to contain this power, or had he become its prisoner? The answers lay buried beneath layers of ritual, fear, and forgotten pacts. Despite warnings from elders and the growing superstition that gripped Belle-Reve, Clara's resolve hardened. The carnival's mystery was no longer a distant curiosity, but a living, breathing enigma that threatened to unravel the fabric of her world. She vowed to confront the darkness that had claimed the carnival, to seek out the truths hidden in shadow and song. Her journey led her back to the secret chamber beneath the tent, the place where the ritual had been enacted. There, among the faded runes and scarred altar, she sought signs of the carnival's lingering essence, a trace of the performers' souls, a thread connecting past and present. The air grew thick with energy, and Clara felt the weight of countless eyes upon her, unseen but watching. In the quiet that followed, she heard the faintest echo of chanting, a whisper on the edge of perception. It was a call to remembrance and a plea for release, a haunting melody that both beckoned and warned. Clara understood that the carnival story was not yet finished, that the night it vanished was but a beginning, a threshold crossed but not closed. The vanished carnival of Belle-Reve had become a legend woven from light and shadow, a tale of wonder and terror that would shape the town's destiny for generations. And at its heart stood Clara Dupont, a girl bound to the mystery, standing at the crossroads between the known and the unknowable, ready to face the darkness that waited beyond the collapsing tent. In the wake of the carnival's sudden and inexplicable disappearance, the town of Belle-Reve found itself ensnared in a web of fear and superstition that would shape its identity for generations. The once lively grounds, where laughter and music had filled the air, transformed into a place of dread, a silent monument to vanished wonders and lingering mysteries. The townsfolk's reactions were as varied as they were intense. Many refused to speak of the carnival at all, fearing that even mention might summon the dark forces they believed had claimed it. Others gathered in hushed circles, exchanging stories that grew more fantastical with each telling, of ghostly apparitions wandering the woods, of eerie lights flickering in the swamp, and of mournful melodies drifting on the night breeze. These tales became the fabric of local legend, weaving a narrative that blurred the line between reality and myth. Attempts to remove the solitary tent, the last remnant of the vanished carnival, met with baffling resistance. On more than one occasion, townspeople set fires to the canvas, hoping to erase the presence that so haunted them. Yet each morning, the tent stood anew, its tattered fabric intact, as if impervious to flame and time. Others tried to dismantle it piece by piece, only to find the structure mysteriously rebuilt overnight. This persistence of the tent became a symbol of the carnival's enduring grip on Belle Reve, a physical manifestation of the town's collective unease. Amid this atmosphere of fear, Clara Dupont grew into her role as the town's reluctant historian and guardian of its secrets. The girl who had once merely been fascinated by the carnival's sudden disappearance now dedicated her life to understanding its mysteries. She collected stories from elders who remembered the carnival's arrival, preserving their memories against the erosion of time. Her leather-bound journal, once filled with tentative notes, swelled with detailed accounts, sketches of symbols, and transcriptions of the cryptic chants she had overheard. Clara's commitment to uncovering the truth was not without personal cost. The weight of the carnival's dark legacy pressed heavily upon her, isolating her from many in the town who viewed her pursuits with suspicion or fear. Yet, she remained undeterred, driven by a conviction that understanding the past was the only way to protect the future. As years passed, the carnival grounds became a place avoided by all but the most curious or foolhardy. Children grew up hearing warnings from their parents, learning to steer clear of the tent and the shadow it cast over the town's spirit. The site itself acquired a reputation as a threshold between worlds, a place where the veil was thin and the echoes of vanished souls lingered. Clara often visited the tent alone, drawn by a sense of duty and an unspoken connection to the vanished performers. Within the tattered canvas, she felt the presence of those who had crossed the boundary between life and death, their stories entwined with her own. She sought signs of their lingering energy, hoping to find a way to bridge the gap and perhaps offer them peace. Her investigations uncovered fragments of ritual remnants and faded symbols, each a clue to the carnival's arcane past. She studied the secret chamber beneath the tent, the altar scarred by rites long ceased, yet still humming with residual power. Clara's understanding of the carnival's magic deepened, revealing a complex tapestry of pacts and sacrifices that had bound the performers to a fate beyond mortal comprehension. The town's elders, once dismissive, began to recognize Clara's expertise, seeking her counsel on matters related to the carnival's legacy. Some confessed to experiencing strange dreams or visions linked to the vanished troupe, while others recounted encounters with shadowy figures near the carnival grounds. These testimonies reinforced the belief that the carnival's influence persisted, shaping the town's collective consciousness in subtle yet profound ways. Despite the passage of time, the carnival's mystery remained unresolved, its tent an enduring symbol of wonder and menace. Clara's lifelong dedication preserved the memory of the vanished carnival, ensuring that the story was neither forgotten nor dismissed as mere superstition. Her work inspired new generations to approach the unknown with a blend of respect and curiosity, recognizing that some mysteries demand both courage and humility. The legacy of Belle Reve's vanished carnival extended beyond local lore, attracting the attention of scholars, travelers, and eventually paranormal investigators drawn by the ongoing phenomena. Reports of strange lights, unexplained sounds, and fleeting apparitions near the carnival site became part of a broader narrative that connected the town to a wider world of the uncanny and the unexplained. As Clara aged, she passed on her knowledge and journals to trusted successors, individuals who shared her commitment to uncovering the truth while honoring the carnival's enigmatic past. The tent remained, a silent guardian of secrets, its presence a reminder that some doors, once opened, cast shadows that stretch across time. Through Clara Dupont's unwavering dedication, the vanished Carnival of Belle Reve endured not as a forgotten tragedy, but as a living legend, a story of vanished wonders, haunted places, and the enduring human desire to understand what lies beyond the veil. The town, shaped by this legacy, continued to grapple with the balance between fear and fascination, between the known and the unknowable. In the quiet moments beneath the tattered tent, where the past and present converged, Clara's spirit lingered, a testament to the power of memory and the resilience of those who dare to seek the truth. The carnival, though vanished from sight, remained alive in the hearts and minds of Belle Reve, a beacon for those drawn to the mysteries that dwell at the edges of reality. In the summer of 1923, nearly 7 decades after the carnival's sudden disappearance, a violent storm lashed Belle Reve, tearing through the swamplands with fierce winds and relentless rain. Amid the tempest, the solitary tent, long a subject of superstition and whispered legends, was rediscovered, its tattered canvas startlingly intact, standing defiantly against the elements as if untouched by time or decay. This unexpected reappearance rekindled the town's collective fascination and dread, drawing a new generation of curious visitors to the once-forgotten site. The storm seemed to awaken something dormant, stirring the air with an electric charge that set nerves on edge. Locals spoke in hushed tones of strange lights flickering around the tent during the night, ethereal glows that pulsed in rhythm with the distant rumble of thunder. Some claimed to hear faint melodies drifting on the wind, ghostly echoes of the carnival's vanished music, haunting and melancholic. These phenomena attracted the attention of paranormal investigators, scholars, and thrill-seekers alike, each eager to glimpse the lingering mysteries that had long captivated Belle Reve. Reports over the ensuing decades painted a consistent picture of inexplicable activity near the carnival grounds. Witnesses described fleeting apparitions, shadowy performers glimpsed just beyond the edge of vision, their forms shimmering and insubstantial. Lights danced among the trees in unnatural patterns, and the scent of incense and old earth seemed to smell the air on certain anniversary dates, as though the carnival spirit stirred in remembrance. These occurrences transcended superstition, prompting systematic investigations that sought to document and understand the lingering presence. Modern researchers, armed with equipment and scientific methods unavailable to previous generations, recorded anomalies that defied conventional explanation. Electromagnetic disturbances pulsed irregularly near the tent, and audio devices captured faint, indecipherable whispers that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the canvas. Thermal imaging revealed cold spots and fleeting shapes, suggesting a realm where time and space intertwined in ways that challenged the boundaries of known reality. Theories emerged to explain the carnival's enduring enigma. Some posited that the tent served as a gateway between dimensions, a liminal space where the veil between worlds grew thin. Others speculated that the vanished performers were trapped in a state of suspended existence, their consciousness caught between life and death, bound to the carnival's magical essence. The tent itself was thought to be an anchor, a physical manifestation of this in-between realm, resisting destruction as a symbol of the carnival's unresolved fate. Local folklore embraced these ideas, weaving them into tales that merged history with myth. The carnival became not merely a vanished spectacle, but a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that some mysteries defy closure and continue to influence the living. Annual gatherings near the tent mark the dates of the carnival's disappearance, with townspeople lighting candles and sharing stories, honoring the past while acknowledging the presence that lingered just beyond sight. Clara Dupont's legacy endured through these years, her meticulous journals preserved and studied by those who followed. Her dedication provided a foundation for understanding the carnival's complex history and offered a roadmap through the tangled web of its magic and mystery. Scholars referenced her accounts when analyzing the strange phenomena, while paranormal investigators drew inspiration from her courage and insight. The tent remained a potent symbol, a nexus where history, memory, and the supernatural converged. Its persistent presence challenged the town to reconcile with a past both wondrous and terrifying, inviting exploration into vanished histories and the mysteries hidden within. Visitors who approached the tent spoke of an almost tangible energy, a sensation of crossing thresholds and glimpsing realms beyond ordinary perception. In this way, the vanished Carnival of Belle Reve transcended its physical absence, becoming a living enigma that continued to shape the town's identity and captivate imaginations worldwide. It stood as a testament to the enduring power of stories, the allure of the unknown, and the human impulse to seek meaning in the shadows. The carnival's tale, reborn in the storm of 1923 and carried forward by generations, remains an open invitation to explore, to question, and to confront the boundaries of reality itself. The tent, weathered yet unyielding, beckons those who dare to walk its threshold and peer into the mysteries that lie beyond, where vanished wonders await discovery and the unknown beckons with a haunting allure.